Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 148 of Sold with Updike Pugh.
I'm Jeff Updike.
I'm Weston Pugh, and we've got a great show today. Two amazing homes. If you're looking for a little acreage, we've got that. If you want to live in town, we've also got a really great condo or townhome that you'd like to look at.
And in our second segment today, we're going to talk about year-to-date numbers in what's really going on with the market, because we're getting that question all the time.
Every time someone finds out you're a realtor, they want to know what's going on in the market. Doesn't matter where you are.
So I've got lots of charts to show you.
So many charts. It's all good. It's all good. Was a great weekend. Labor Day was a very enjoyable time. I was in Minneapolis, which was very interesting. Weather is completely different there.
Yeah.
It was nice. Got to see some lake. So, it was quite different. So I'll have to say I dressed properly, which was nice because it was in the 70s almost the entire time the first day. And then it kind of warmed up to about 80, and then it dropped on down to about 50 degrees at night, which was really nice.
I laid in pools all weekend. That was all I did all weekend. Basically laid in pools, and that was it. Well, ate also.
You ate and
drank a little, but laid in pools almost all weekend. So
I was on a pontoon boat. I have to say that I think that pontoon boats are the greatest invention when it comes to lake, because that ability to lounge, and maybe I'm just past all that, like, but the lounging and having cocktails and just, I thought it's great. I love that. You don't like them?
I do. I really enjoy them. I like the go fast boats too, but I do enjoy pontoon boats.
I don't know.
Our friends group does this lake trip every year out to Lake Louisville, where they rent a pontoon boat and they invite, I think there's 40 people max that go on it. And I think they get there at 4 and we get back about 7 or 8 in the evening. And it's a great lazy way to spend an evening on the lake.
I think it's awesome. Is that two-story one that I've seen pictures of?
I don't know if they had the 2-story this year. We didn't get to go because we were in Columbia, but
pretty amazing.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
I like them. I like that. I feel like they have a Barker lounger on it too. It's just perfect. And the funniest thing is now they have koozies that have magnets on the bottom of them, and you set your koozie on the table and it clicks in. I was like, this is perfect, and I don't have to drive. So I hate that. So it was really great. Let's take it and talk a little bit about. We're going to talk about year to date in the second half, but right now, let's just talk about what happened last week and compare it to the week before.
Mini market watch.
So,
there, as you roll over the first of the month, you usually see a lot more activity happening, which is kind of what we're seeing here. We saw more new listings come on the market. There were more that came back on the market that were either under contract or temporarily off the market. There were not as many price decreases as I thought we'd see, because we tend to see those happen around the end of the month, I think.
And I do not understand the price increase. I need to go back and pull that. It doesn't make sense that we jumped 31% in price increases, unless my guess is that it's new home construction that's getting put in, and then they're bumping the price when they realize inventory is a little bit lower than they thought. Under contract, you can see we dropped from 1967 to 1912, and we also dropped, but just a fraction, by 1% under the option period, those that are under contract.
The pending numbers were up. There were about 2% up over the last week compared to the week before. But here's where we see the big change toward the end of the month is the number of sold. That most people tend to close toward the end of the month because it costs them less out of pocket to do that. And so we saw during that as we rolled over the 31st of August, that increased about 7%.
Yep, and when we talk about coming soon, those are the ones that you can't see, but we know that they're, and that increased to 382, which is up 11%. This was a very odd week, I have to say, because this both rolls in an end of the month, but it also rolled in a 4-day weekend. And so those two numbers just are throwing things off a hair, I would guess, for the simple fact that we don't see a lot of people bring inventory on anytime on a 4-day weekend, especially for Labor Day, because this is the last chance usually that people take advantage and go out of town.
It is. We'll definitely see the market begin to seasonally slow just a bit, because so many, whether you are driven by schools or not, that does influence the rest of the market. And so we tend to see, as school begins to start, there's an increase in the number of transactions. As school gets out, there's an increase in the number of transactions, and as it starts, it tends to slow down after that.
The other thing too, that we've got 3 brand new construction homes under contract, and I know that 2 of them are on track right now. One of them is they haven't even broke ground yet on the lot, but I think that is a great sign that we can hopefully look forward that carries on into 2022 if new home construction can stay on track a little bit. I know windows have been a little bit of a problem for certain builders, but it's really exciting to see, we've got 2 of them that will be in their house probably before Thanksgiving.
Yeah,
but
probably
for
before-
sure before Christmas.
Yeah, certainly.
Good news.
Yeah.
Good news.
So let's jump into our first property today. This is the one that is at 3954 FM 546. And this is, that's a farm to market road out near Princeton, Texas. This is a home that we sold to some friends a few years ago, and it's on 4.25 acres of land. And one of the really cool things about this is it's only about a 30-minute drive from this house to downtown Dallas. Now, I know that is middle of the day, but this home backs up to a Corps of Engineers land, and you can see the forest of trees right there. So everything that is to the left of that, all the way down to Lake Lavon, is owned by the federal government, and they have certain restrictions on when you can do these, but you can hunt for duck, and you can hike, and you can fish as you get down toward Lake Lavon. And, I never want to say nothing's ever going to happen, because that's when you get in trouble. But the chance of something happening to federally owned land that is used for this is really, really very, very small. I think it's still a great location. You have access to the city life when you want it, but you don't have to. You really get out there, and it is just incredibly quiet.
The other thing too is that FM 546 has also been renovated or repaved, widened, and is a much easier. It's not quite as dangerous as some of the other little roads, and it also tees into 380. And 380 used to be the end of the toll road. Do you remember that?
Oh, yeah.
And now everything continues to go further. So let's go ahead and jump in and take a look at what we've got here.
So this is a really great opportunity to own 4.25 acres of land. This property has 2 homes on it. It has this single family home that we're going to look at first, and brick home, mid-century construction, I would say, has had a lot of upgrades done to it. I think it's got this really great red brick, and it's got a sense of I don't know, I hate to say sense of arrival because I keep saying that, but it does.
Yeah, and the great thing is you walk in, it's an easy layout. So we walk into the front living room, and then as you can see, one of the great things that they did was when they moved in, they replaced the windows. So that we'll talk about some of the heavy lifting that they have done, and still allow you to be able to come through this house and actually add some of your cosmetic touches to the house that you would find important to you.
And the kitchen's got some updating done to it. There's plenty of space in this home. It does have the original oven. I had the owner call me the other day, and he said, well, you have modern appliances in here, and I don't think that's very modern, and he's right. So that one's not. 2 really generous sized bedrooms in this, 2 full bathrooms. The master bedroom, this is the master bedroom, is a great sized room. That is a king size bed, as you can tell, fits very, very well in there. As Weston said, all of the windows have been replaced in this. And this is the secondary room that they both are able to work out of.
Yep, and they've got plenty of space. You can see they've got 2 different desks there. They also have a 3D printer there, and they still have room for a really large TV. So it all kind of makes sense in the way that it flows. I think one of the things that we didn't point out when we were looking at the exterior at the beginning is that this also has solar, which is a really great additive that this house can really kind of get closer to off the grid.
So it also has a manufactured housing next door that is been fully converted into real property. Great floor plan. This is a 4-bedroom, 2-bath manufactured home, vaulted ceilings in it, open floor plan, open from the living room to the dining room to the kitchen, which is so very popular right now, and master bedroom on one end and all the other bedrooms in a living area on the other.
Absolutely. And you can see, again, it's easy the way that it's set up. You'll see a little bit later on where we're going to take and zoom out on some of the drone photography, but you'll see how these actually are almost in line with each other, and so it's really great. Neither one of them are facing each other. They do run parallel with the road, but are probably offset by about a football field length, and so there is quite a bit of distance. Again, we see here that we've got really great windows. We've really got nice ceilings. So this is the ability for you to have a multi-generational family here, or if you want to live in this one and do work on the other home, it really kind of gives the homeowner a lot more flexibility than they would if it was just a single home out here right now.
It really does. And the other home has had the septic system, an aerobic septic system put in recently, which really updated it. As Weston said, the solar panels on the main house provide almost enough power to completely offset the usage of it. In a multi-generational environment, if that is what you need, this would be a great answer for me, I think, especially if you don't want to live under the same roof.
And the other thing too is you don't realize, but this has a second living area, and this is that second living area. It's on the back side of it. If you can look through those windows, you can see Jeff's car right there in the back. Again, plenty of room. The rooms are not 10 by 10s, which I was a little bit surprised. They're much larger than that, so information is uploaded in MLS for you to be able to take a look at that. But again, we've got a really great home. One of the things that we have also is we have a chicken coop.
Yes, chicken coop. There are other outbuildings. There is also a water well that's been dug on site. They are part of a co-op water, but if you wanted that for irrigation or some other use, it'd be great.
And here's your storm cellar. So this is a great ad that they put in when they moved into the property. Right now, they use it as dry storage, which is also very smart. But given the Texas weather, this is one heck of an additive.
And so all of this that you see there, not to the right, not the white buildings that are on the right, but as you see from the driveway coming in, all of that to the left is what you would be owning when purchasing this home. So 3954 FM 546 combined has 6 bedrooms, 4 bathrooms, a 2-car carport, main house built in the 60s. I think the manufactured housing was probably an 80s or 90s construction. The entire property can be yours for $500,000.
Yep. So in the link, you're going to see in the comments below, you're going to see a link. Click on that. You'll get a little more information. Tour that map and get familiar with where this area is. And if you'd like to see it, let us know, and we will fit you in and make this happen.
Absolutely.
Great.
So what's our next one?
Next one, it's going to be 36 miles straight. So now we're going to come back into town. I mean, all the way back into town. And this is a really great area. We've seen a lot of people move into this area. It's right off of Lemon. David Weekley has built an enormous area back over here and done really well. There's some other modern ones that have come in, so it's really kind of helped secure this neighborhood. You've got a really great walk-to bar, if you like that, at the Ivy Tavern. They have an amazing outdoor patio, which is great for college football season. Been there many times for that.
Yes, and you can have, this is one of those neighborhoods, again, where you can have everything from your McLaren serviced all the way down to having halal guys for lunch.
You're right. The diversity here is pretty amazing. You've got a really great racetrack, is always one of my favorites to go get gas up. And you've got 2 choices to get your car cleaned on your way home or as you head off to the office. Great thing about this neighborhood, we've sold many, many homes in this area, is it is within the 5-minute bubble to UT Southwestern and Parkland. So if you're doing your residency or you're doing your fellowship, this is an amazing place for you.
It really is. And this is a small community that is a 2-story. All the units in it are 2-story. I think there are 10 units total in it.
I'll give you that.
Yeah.
And so this little complex is gated, and that's a really great area to have the gated privacy, security. And as you can see, they are separated with a common drive-through. They have a walk pedestrian gate, but they also all have a 2-car garage. And as we all know in Uptown and Oaklawn, having your own dedicated parking that is secure and attached to your unit is gold.
It is. And they all have a little small side yard on them and private backyards. Again, as you walk up to these, they're a stucco exterior. This is the back patio on it, which is really a great little private getaway space. The owners have provided some covering on it there. So you've got, it becomes even usable in the rain like we had this morning.
And I think that's the best thing about it, is because, as we've all learned over the last 18 months, is to have a home that has a variety of spaces is so critical. Now, as we walk in, we're coming in through the front door, stairs there on the left-hand side. One of the great things is we've got hardwood floors. Also downstairs, full-size washer and dryer connections. So important, as you also know, in Oak Lawn and Uptown, full-size washer and dryers are a must and a delicacy.
So this is the bedroom that has access to the backyard patio, and still a generous sized bedroom. Double doors going out, full-size walk-in closet, really just a great sized bedroom. And you can't really see it here, but those wood floors do continue into this room as well.
And I like that you've got tons of natural light, whether it's from the 2 windows or from the 2 doors right there. Great light. We also have 9 to 10 foot ceilings. I'm not sure which ones they are, but that is really a nice feature because it doesn't feel like everything is sitting on your head. This is the bathroom that shares between the 2 bathrooms. Really easy glass slider. And then here to the second bedroom downstairs. Great thing about this bedroom, it also has a walk-in closet, so you don't get in that situation. If you need a place to work, these also make really great dedicated offices. The way that they're situated, you get a lot of privacy and a lot less noise.
And as you go upstairs, you enter into the dining area. And one of the things that I really love about this space is it is so flexible.
It is. You're right. And because of the way that it's situated, it doesn't have a neighbor there on those windows to the right-hand side, which allows them to run another layer of light in, which is amazing. And the vaulted ceilings also help so that it doesn't feel like you're living in just a traditional townhome or condo.
Really, double pane windows on this. The draperies really add to it, I believe. As Weston said, the vaulted ceilings in this really give it a lot more room, a lot more light, just a lot more life.
And as you can see, the way that this is set up, so many times when we entertain, we have people over, everyone ends up in the kitchen, and it's just crowded. This is a really great configuration because both the dining room and the kitchen work in harmony, so you're able to sit and enjoy and not be clustered around the sink, and really enjoy the entire space.
But if you want to be, this has got seating for it.
Lots of undermounted lighting. They've painted the cabinets nice and white. You see we have a natural stone. It just has the flow that we look for today, side by side, fridge and freezer, water and ice machine.
And, again, we can't overemphasize the light, the bright, the vaulted ceilings here.
It makes a difference, and I will tell you that so many times when we show a condo or townhome, when they're dark, people can't tell you why they don't like it, but they sure can tell you why they like it when they see all this light. And this is one of those wonderful homes.
They can. This is the powder room that is also on that second level, and then it flows right into the master bedroom.
And I love the master bedroom. We're getting, again, double doors, little step out Juliet balcony. Great place to do some planting, but you can see here how symmetrical this room is, and it makes it easy to set up your furniture.
It really does. And the owners have redone the master bath in this, and they did such an incredible job in it. You kind of know how your furniture fits in this, and it never gets boring.
Yep. And the master bathroom and the master closet is where they spent the money. So it gets a little bit more difficult because of the way that the light is in here. It's so bright, but that shower takes up the entire length of that wall right there. And they've done a great job of making it a walk-in with a seat. They've done a really great job of doing the penny tile all the way up on one side. And then they've got the bench right here that I mentioned. Just an amazing open space.
And look what they did for their shampoos, what you just love.
I love that you can't see that stuff. I want that stuff hidden. Nobody wants to see that, period, the end. I said it.
So 3536 Miles Street, 3 bedrooms, 2.5 bathrooms, 2-car garage built in 2003, a little over 1,700 square feet, priced at $450,000. And if you'd like to take a look at any of the other pictures we didn't include, just click on the links below and you'll be able to do that. If you'd like to set up a showing for this one, just give us a call. We'll be happy to make that happen. And with that, we'll be right back.
There are lots of ways to keep up with us. Visit and like our Facebook page to watch us live and get updates about future show topics. Also, visit our Instagram account where you can see the latest homes we have for sale. You can also check out our website at updikepugh.com where you can create customized searches of active and sold homes that you may find of interest. If you'd like to know how much your home is worth, visit homeprice.fyi and you can get a price instantly. Just enter your address and a couple of other pieces of information, and we will email you a price. If you are on the go and podcasts are better for you, our second segments are available on iTunes and Spotify. Last of all, you can reach out to us by phone or text at 214-377-2223.
Welcome back to the second segment of episode 148 of Sold with Updike Pugh. Today we are going to talk about kind of a market update year to date, comparing last year, or really the last couple of years to this year.
It's a lot of information. These slides are meaty, and I had to make my own notes on these things so that I could keep up, because there's a lot to talk about on these slides.
There is, and we asked Zach to kind of shade in on these, kind of showing you where the pandemic was, where the presidential election was in that during that time, and we did that only because around election time, the market tends to slow down a bit. It has always done that every 4 years. Yeah, it just tends to slow down. But then we also had to deal with this overlaying pandemic, and nobody knew where that was going to go.
And it got really confusing. And so as we look on the first slide, we're going to talk about new listings. And so you can see these are all going to be the same. This is data that was pulled out of MLS over the last, well, let's say we started in 2018 till just last month, I believe is when it ended. And so you can see here that both 18 and 19, the way those peaks and valleys, they are almost mirror images of each other. And so that's really one of those things that is a good baseline for us to look at. And then we look at 2019 and 2020 and see how different things got.
Yeah, in you can see right toward the end of the year in both 19 and 20 where the new listing inventory dropped down to about 8,000 new listings that month. And then every year it kind of comes right back up. And this year in 2020, we didn't quite see that go back up as high as we normally do. And then in 2021, the first quarter of the year really got thrown off because of the start of the pandemic.
And it's interesting because so much of this inventory, the highs were at, what does it say, like 17,000, both in 18 and 19. And then look how it drops off to below 16 in 2019, and just barely over that in 2020.
Yeah, it's so we've definitely seen that new listing inventory shift. Let's jump on to the next slide, and this is going to be the inventory of homes for sale, and I think this pretty much tells the story right here.
This is when things are, if we go, let's start at 2018 and 2019. You can see there that they're almost the exact same shape in the curve. But you can see there that we have an increase of about 2,000, which is a normal number to increase by in 2019 over 20. But then it all falls apart right when that pandemic starts.
It really did. And then as the pandemic began to take hold, that was where the inventory of homes just really started falling off.
And this is where we begin talking about your freshman year of business, when they talked about the supply of law on demand. And here we go, because as you can see, we're having a huge drop off, and it continues from 2019 into 2020, where it really settles between like 12 and 13,000 new homes, which is, when we were seeing that, it was, what was it, a month and 1.4 months that we had of inventory at that point.
Yeah. And moving on to the next slide, where we talk about the closed sales. And you can see that the number of, I should have overlaid some of these slides, but that would have probably been a little bit more.
We'll do it again later.
Yeah, but when you look at the closed sale activity here, you can see that the closings were still happening. But you could also see in that previous slide how the inventory was so much smaller, because the slide prior to that was, the new listings, and those weren't happening.
Exactly. So you're talking about in 2019, where you see that huge peak that's right about 15,000, and that absorption rate, if we were able to overlay, as Jeff said, the slide before, you would see how the inventory just really begins to just have a free fall. And so we've got these huge absorption rates. Actually, if you look at the absorption rate for 2020, it's actually higher by 5,000 in 2019 and about 6,000 over 2018. And those had really healthy inventories. And so this is just a multiplier that we have never seen before in our market.
And so because of all of that supply and demand, as we move on to the next slide, we can see how that average sales price in our market has just gone up and gone up and gone up.
And it's a good 2018, 2019. You can see how it's kind of the normal cyclical pattern that we see there. But then it just gets fractured, and it's, I guess, a stutter step, because when that pandemic happened, it all shut down. And that was actually when I sold Manette. And I sold Manette as fast as I could that one weekend when we reopened the economy for that split second. And we threw it on and sold it for, what was it, 10 or 15,000 more than the other side did just 45 days earlier. So that shows you where that huge little jump first began in 2020. And then in 2021 is when it really started to accelerate.
So in August of 2021, we hit an all-time average sales price high of $423,000.
But if you think about that, Jeff, and really like factor in where does that put us, like in the top 10 metroplexes in the United States, we're still not that expensive at that rate.
That's true. That is, some people ask for what the explanation for all of this is, and I look at it kind of like we have lived in Texas very inexpensively for a very, very long time in terms of housing.
Correct.
And now we are beginning to see that correction upward because we've become a bigger metropolitan area. We're on par with much bigger cities now, and the cost of living just is going to be higher.
The economy has been really healthy for a while, and so people have had some money here in Dallas to spend it up on those prices.
And as the result of sales prices going up, you can see on our next slide, the median days on market has really gone way down, which in turn affects the inventory in terms of the months of inventory that are left.
And typically your longest days on market would be between December and February. And it looks like if you look back in 2019, we were probably about 35 days on the market. Move over to 2020, it's about 42 days on the market. And then you see that drop. And we get down to about 19 days on the market in 2021. And I don't know what it really is right now.
It is interesting because the days on market is something that you have to take with a little bit of a grain of salt, because this does not have the influence of off-market sales.
Correct.
But it does have the influence of many new construction homes that are put into MLS before the ground is even broken, and then they may not sell for a year, and so you've got those outliers that aren't necessarily
accurate,
the same as everything else that you're comparing it to. So it's a good rule of thumb, but it's not something to really put everything on.
It's a guideline. And the other thing too is not everybody puts it as changes the status the day of execution.
Yes.
There can be a drag. Often there is a drag.
And so our last slide is the median sales price. And this is also, as you can tell, in August, we set another record with a median sales price of right at $340,000.
So that is very interesting that the median and the average are that far apart. I always feel like whenever you and I do this, when we're doing comp data for our clients, that they're usually within 2,000 to maybe 6,000 on the high. This is because we're taking all of MLS into consideration.
Yes, that is correct.
So
Yeah.
it's
And
just different.
Yeah, and our MLS is extremely large. We're, I think, the 5th largest or the 7th largest MLS in the country. We've got about 50,000 subscribers, 40 to 50,000 subscribers, I believe.
That's enormous.
And it is, and it's been, the real estate market always needs people to come into it, like every industry. It always needs new people to come in. It is one of those industries where about 80% of the people don't renew their license a second time because it looks very different on the outside than it is on the inside.
It feels a lot different financially that first 2 years, actually 3 years, I would say. So very interesting data, lots of it.
I hope that you enjoyed that. I hope there was some information that you could actually use there. If there is other detailed information that you'd like, we have the ability to break this down to, like a monthly number if need. I could send you 32 other charts if you really want. So,
Someone ask for that, please. Well, thank y'all so much for tuning in. And just remember, we want to be your realtors for life.